Welcome to the Nourish Fertility Podcast, your go-to podcast to get your period back and get pregnant. I'm your host, Victoria Myers, peer recovery specialist, fertility dietitian, and owner of the virtual coaching practice, Nourish Fertility, where we work together to restore your fertility. I cannot wait to share this episode with you today because I have my one and only, my lead dietitian at Nourish Fertility, the dietitian responsible for serving all of our clients inside of Premier Peer Recovery for Fertility, on the show today. Lauren is such an expert in all things hormones, digestion, functional lab testing, infertility nutrition. And it's not only why I brought her in to better serve our clients than even I ever could, but also why I asked her to come on the podcast today. We have recently added the GI map, which is a stool sample test, to our practice as a summer bonus. And honestly, it's something we're considering maintaining in the program long term because we're just getting such good information and such good results and transformations for our clients receiving them. It's just giving us an even deeper assessment of why someone might be struggling to get pregnant with a missing or an irregular period, far beyond what we usually test for with metabolic functioning, nervous system, adrenal, and thyroid health. Now we're also looking at all those things, the hormone picture, of course, as well, and now looking at their digestion to look at, is there an infection, inflammation present? If there are nutrient deficiencies, is that because there's malabsorption in the gut? And this test really has allowed us to serve our clients so much better. And it's why we are both so passionate about it. We're just seeing time and time again the way it's helping us to better serve our clients and have our clients have an even better transformation than they were already experiencing. I think a lot of times what I love most about this test is it's not just about getting pregnant, but really helping our clients to feel good in their bodies. Lauren will talk about this in this episode, but a lot of our clients have a lot of food intolerances and they're not able to eat a wide variety of foods, which is truly one of the best things you can do for your health and fertility. And again, this test, as it does with so many areas of your health, tells us a clear picture of why and how we can then fix that. Lauren is going to share all about the test, why you should consider it as well if you're struggling right now with a missing or an irregular period and infertility. So without further ado, let's jump into this incredible guest episode with our lead dietitian at the practice, Lauren. Hello, Lauren. Welcome officially to the Nourish Fertility Podcast. What an honor it is to have you here today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to chat with you.
I'm excited to chat with you too. Tell everyone who's listening who you are at Nourish Fertility.
Cool. Lauren Furgiuele, and yeah, I'm the lead dietitian with Nourish Fertility, and I specialize in hormones and just really help women figure out on how to get their period back and get pregnant and finally start the family that they want, and really just kind of navigating a lot of the ins and outs of lab work and getting to the root cause to help them kind of figure out what they've got going on.
Yep. And that is why you are our girl seeing all the clients, because period recovery and kind of like the disordered eating side of it is my expertise. But I brought you on because I don't have as much of the functional lab expertise and your just extensive knowledge and expertise in hormone health just impresses me every single day. So what an honor it is to have you serving our clients. And interestingly enough, though, we're going to talk about digestion and gut health today. And I think that's just like a good place to start of like, why would we even be talking about gut health and the GI map test for someone who's struggling with period loss or hormone issues and infertility?
Yeah. I mean, with working in years of like hormone health with women, first and foremost, I almost always see gut issues coming along with a lot of that. But when we think about hormone health, like it all starts with what we're eating and how we're absorbing that. Like we need raw materials to make hormones, and that is coming from our food. And if there's any issues or imbalances going on in the gut, that's not allowing us to fully digest and absorb those raw materials, then it's so possible that we're going to see some sort of issues or imbalances with hormones. So I just see it kind of being the beginning of making sure our hormones are balanced. Like when there's something wrong with that, like that's always the last thing to go. And so making sure that the gut is healthy is like one of like 5 steps, 10 steps prior to that to making sure, everything's healthy there. And there's things that we can identify through a GI map that like see if there's inflammation going on, and that can disrupt hormone regulation. So there's just so much we can identify what's going on in the gut to make sense and really give us like a full picture on how to address whole health and make sure hormones are, going to be balanced better.
Two thoughts came to mind when you shared that, Lauren. Number one, this is about more than just getting your period back and getting pregnant, right? Like we want people to genuinely feel their best, to feel good in their bodies, to not be symptomatic. And what we find to be true for a lot of our clients is that they are quite symptomatic. But even if you don't have GI issues, this test is still really beneficial, and we'll talk about that today. And the second thing that comes to mind, Lauren, is when you say like it's the last thing to go, I feel like that it's something that maybe a lot of people with period loss don't realize is that there's been like years and years of layers of metabolic damage and nutrient depletion, nervous system dysregulation, and likely some gut issues, whether that's gut dysbiosis, inflammation, absorption issues. We'll get into all of that today. That then leads to the period loss. That's why our practice has evolved so much over the past few years, going from just simply telling people to eat more to get their periods back and really recognizing like, hey, like we have to make sure that your body is functioning optimally so that you can again not only get your period back but so that you can get pregnant and actually like be truly healthy, because for all
Right.
of these women listening to this show, like that is what they care most about. They want to be healthy,
Yeah,
truly
yeah,
healthy though.
yeah. It makes me think there's this phrase that I've heard in the past of thinking specifically with like hormone health and gut health or other systems. Like if we are just focused on the hormones, it's like trying to build a house on an unstable foundation. Like if we aren't addressing gut health as well, because the reality is most people have an unhealthy gut to some degree, just in modern age with so many things that can impact that. But yeah, it's like we're missing all the other pieces if we're just focused on the hormone piece. So yeah.
And I think that makes sense why people struggle to not only get their periods back, but struggle with infertility even after getting their period back, why they struggle with other symptoms like bloating and constipation. It's like they're not dealing with really the root of the problems, which is why we've added the GI map to our practice. It's our summer bonus right now. Who knows? We may keep it in, but for now, it's just the summer bonus. And that's the test we're going to focus on today. So for let's just kind of start with like why the GI map? Why were you like, Victoria, I really think we should add this into our practice, and like what does it tell us?
hmm Yeah. So GI map overall lets us see one, like our gut microbiome. So our good bacteria, our bad bacteria. It helps us understand inflammation in the gut, how well we're ultimately like digesting foods. So it really gives us like a whole picture with what's going on in the gut, and we can talk about kind of specifics with some of those. The GI map specifically, there are other stool tests out on the market. And why I love the GI map so much is that it's a quantitative test. Basically, what that means is it's giving us actual levels of microbes, of digestive markers. And why that matters is like, for example, H. pylori, which I'm sure we'll talk about. It's not just giving us a positive or negative. It's like, this is the amount. And that helps me clinically know, like, do we worry about this? Do we treat it? If so, to what degree do we need to treat it? And so it really helps me be able to assess like the person in front of me much better, understanding like actual levels. So yeah, stool tests are great, but that's why I really love the GI map specifically.
Well, you mentioned H. pylori. Let's go ahead and talk about that because it's very
Yeah.
common for people to struggle with an overgrowth of this, and it affects a lot of areas of their ability to absorb. It affects stomach acid. So tell us why that part of the test in particular is so important.
Yeah, I'm always so eager to see H. pylori in the test. So
That was
H.
when I had an
pylori,
overgrowth in. That
did
was like when I
you?
did a GI map. Yeah, because I had like 5 stomach bugs in a row, and I think it just It messed with everything.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had an overgrowth of it in the past as well. It's quite common, and it's like 50 to 80% of the population I think has H. pylori.
Wow.
It's really easy to spread. Like you can get it through saliva, so oftentimes like partners might have it too. Um, but basically what it is, it's a stomach infection, so it's going to be found in the stomach, and in really severe cases, like it just causes a lot of inflammation. Like you can get gastritis, some people might get ulcers. I don't see that as often. What H. pylori does is it lowers your stomach acid. It literally like secretes an enzyme to lower stomach acid so that it can survive in your stomach. Because otherwise, like things can't really survive in your stomach. It's very acidic. And we need a very acidic stomach to digest foods, especially protein, to absorb nutrients like iron, zinc, B vitamins. And so when we have lower stomach acid, all of a sudden we're not digesting foods as well. We're not absorbing those nutrients as well. We need a strong stomach acid to stimulate the pancreas to make pancreatic enzymes that digest food. We need it to help the gallbladder release bile into the small intestine to help with fat absorption. So all of a sudden, with this lower stomach acid, we're seeing like a lot of issues starting to happen lower down in the gut as well. And what I've always learned with gut health is like we take a top-down approach. So we want to like whatever's happening up here, we want to address first. So if H. pylori is present, like and it's causing issues, we want to treat it.
Mhm.
Because yeah, I just really like I end up seeing so many nutrient deficiencies as a result, sometimes even reflux. So just like quality of life sucks. If you're having a lot of reflux every day, and can really like have a downstream effect. So yeah, it's such an interesting bug and it's common to have, which is why the GI map's helpful because I can like kind of see, okay, is it present? Is it elevated? To what degree? Does this person in front of me have symptoms that align with having H. pylori? And so then we can kind of decide like what's the best way to approach it.
Speaking of overgrowth, the GI map will also tell us about bacterial pathogens, parasitic pathogens, viral pathogens, and even gives us an idea of like the healthy beneficial bacteria and the degree in which you have them, either not very much at all or a good healthy amount. Why is all that information important to know? Why might someone with or without GI symptoms who has period loss benefit from knowing about like the different types of bacteria, fungi,
Hmm.
parasites even
Yeah.
in their digestive health?
Yeah. I'd say probably like the most important piece we can learn, because not everyone has symptoms when they have like overgrowth or issues, right? Like sometimes it's there, but we don't always see it in the most obvious ways. It might not show up as bloating, but it might show up as skin inflammation and eczema or headaches. But yeah, we can see when there's a lot of overgrowth of bad bacteria, um, that can create a whole host of inflammation in the gut that can lead to leaky gut, which is basically where things can leave the gut that we don't want to leave the gut, get into the system and create havoc and increase inflammation in the body, which of course is going to impact our reproductive system. So that's kind of the biggest thing, whether or not you're having gut issues, to really understand that diversity. And if there's overgrowth of bad bacteria, there means there's not as much space for that good bacteria. And the good bacteria is helping manage inflammation. It's helping manage our immune system and our tolerance to food. It helps create a really healthy integrity of the gut and decrease that possibility of having leaky gut. And so maintaining a really healthy balance is important. Helps us understand the quality of the diet. Like, is there not enough fibers coming in, and what do we need to do there? So yeah, so lots of cool stuff we can learn from that. And of course, with hormone health specifically, if people are having yeast issues in other parts of the body, we can see is it stemming from potentially the gut. Like you mentioned, there's parasites and stuff like that. Like if those things are happening, we really want to address them before you're thinking about getting pregnant. A lot of people are coming out to us to get pregnant. And so that's something like, let's make sure we address that before we go down that route too.
Yeah, that's one of the key reasons we brought it in is because again, we want to do more than just get people's period back. We want to make sure their body's in a healthy state so that
Mhm.
pregnancy is possible and they can get and stay pregnant. When you say that though, it also makes me think of like absorption, which is one of the like a primary reason we started ordering it more is because we started seeing all these markers with our clients of nutrient depletion and nutrient deficiencies. And we started to be like, okay, is there absorption issues leading to this? Tell us a little bit more about how a GI map might tell us about someone's ability to absorb the nutrition from the food that they're eating.
Yeah. So first, of course, the H. pylori piece we already talked about. We know if that's present, that's going to impact stomach acid. But also the last page of the test, which is probably my favorite part of the test, there's a few different markers that are telling us, yeah, overall digestive capacity. So one marker is called elastase 1, and that just represents how well your pancreas is releasing digestive enzymes. And these are things that just like help break down all of our food so that we can absorb it properly. This is one of the things, Victoria, I see this low almost all of the time. It
Wow.
does come back to stomach acid often. I mean, that is the biggest, we need really good stomach acid to drive that production of pancreatic enzyme release, but I see it low so often. And so it's just really helpful to identify if that is a problem. And then it also tells us if there's steatocrit in the stool, which means that there's fat in the stool. And if there's fat present in the stool, it means we're not digesting fat well. Also comes back to stomach acid that can be causing that. But the problem with that is all of our hormones come from cholesterol. And if we aren't absorbing fat well, we likely aren't having good cholesterol production potentially, or just not enough fat intake to help with that hormone production. And that can be one of the things leading to poor hormone production. And yeah, we know that fat's so important in period recovery too. So those are some markers that can really help us identify how well you're actually digesting food, which is helpful.
Yeah, so important to know. Another thing that is really cool about the intestinal health markers portion of the GI map is it tells us about inflammation and the immune response. Can you tell us a little bit more about how it like directly, more than just like the good and bad bacteria, right? It tells us more specifically about it in that specific portion of the test.
Yeah. So kind of the main marker I'm always looking for, also like this is like I always want to know secretory IgA right away. This is an antibody in the gut. It's found in all kind of mucosal areas, and it's known as like the first line of defense. So whenever anything comes into the gut, secretory IgA is like, okay, is this friend or foe? Do we react? Do we not react? And if this is really high, that means there's a huge immune reaction happening in the gut, which can create inflammation and tells us, okay, there's something that you're reacting to that we want to address. More often than not, though, I see it actually really low. And if it's really low, that creates a space for more pathogens to like take over. You might be getting sick more often, more food intolerances too. Like those people that are like, I had chicken and rice this day and it was fine. And then the next day I ate the same thing and had a horrible reaction. I'm instantly thinking, you might have low secretory IgA because you just that immune function is not as good and you actually end up overreacting to things. And when you think of period recovery, like we want to have the most liberal diet as possible. We don't want to be restricting foods. And so if someone is restricting as a result of food intolerances, we want to know if there's something we can do about that. So yeah, I see a lot of low secretory IgA. So that's really helpful. And there's another one that's kind of related to like more of a histamine response, general inflammation. Um, and then also calprotectin's on the test, which is kind of the gold standard for measuring general inflammation in the gut, which can also just kind of help us understand, what's going on with the immune system as well and that integrity of the gut lining.
That's so fascinating. I, in particular, find the part about the food intolerances so interesting because you're right. We do have a lot of clients that come to us. Sometimes it's disordered eating that leads people to restrict and limit their diets, and that can then lead kind of counterintuitively to food intolerances. Other people, though, they just have food intolerances, whether, and the test tells us a little bit more about why they might have food intolerance, just trying to figure out why someone either through disordered eating or not at all, like almost accidental under eating, why they are unable to eat certain foods and like what we can then do about it. So that's kind of like my last question about the stool sample test. Why, like, what do you do with this information? What do you tell our clients to do once you get this? Because I want someone who is interested in the test to envision, like, what do you do with this information? And why would you want a dietitian going through it with you instead of just like taking the test on your own and willy-nilly trying to do a protocol or just being like, okay, this just means I have, you know, not like inflammation present. It doesn't mean you need to go restrict a bunch of foods. It means you need to do a very targeted protocol to support it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, gosh, there's so many things that we can take from the test and start working on. I'd say first to answer that second question of like why to work with someone specifically, it's not like a super black and white test. Like you might see, oh gosh, I have a few overgrowths of these bad bacteria. That does not mean we all of a sudden need to go in and like do some sort of antimicrobial or antiparasitic or something and go kill it off because we also want to keep in mind the rest of the tests and your symptoms, and that actually might be more harmful than good in some situations. And so having someone that's really knowledgeable and knowing like what feels like the most important piece to address from this test? Like, what is even like the root cause of things just within the scope of this test that might be driving some of the other markers that we might see off? So I just think working with someone that's really knowledgeable in the results, like can just take over the overwhelm too. It's not, it's kind of a complicated test as far as really assessing and knowing the best way forward. But as far as like what does treatment, like we get the results and like what's next. First off, food wise, I always start with like what can we adjust with food? And so oftentimes it's seeing what we need to add in. If there's like a low diversity in your microbiome, there are literally specific foods with specific type of fibers that can like feed the microbiome in a cool way. There's certain foods that can help manage H. pylori levels. There's certain foods that can help support immune system. So like we're starting there with like what do we need to add in to really help level out and balance out some things in the gut. More often than not, there is some sort of supplement protocol as well, just to help us really move forward in addressing whether it's some of the overgrowths or if you have low immune function, taking things that are really going to help support the immune function. And then the last piece is lifestyle too. I mean, it's not just, our food that might lead us to having an imbalanced gut, but stress levels and poor sleep and yeah, just like honestly the physical and mental stress that we all experience on our body can play such a huge role in the gut. And so always incorporating some sort of lifestyle things as well, that can help support whatever you need that specific support with. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that answer. And final question, I mentioned this a second ago, so stool sample. I'm sure someone listening is like, what? Stool sample? Let everybody know what your thoughts are on a stool sample. Is it scary to do? I don't think so, but I'd love to
No.
hear your thoughts.
I don't think so. I've done many stool tests on myself over the years, and it's an intimate situation but like a kit gets sent to your house. You get to do it in the comfort of your own bathroom. You just like collect a little bit of your stool, send it off to the lab. Super easy, in my opinion. It's definitely a unique experience, but it's definitely not scary. Yeah.
And it's so worth it for the results and for the
Yeah.
outcome and for the level of support that you can receive through
Mhm.
getting the test. It's
Yeah.
just so worth it. That was my experience for sure. And I know our clients feel the same way too.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, last question I want to ask you. I ask every guest that comes on the show. Our philosophy is like wellness, but without obsession. We want you to care about your health, take care of your body, but do so without an obsessive mentality. So I'd love to ask you, in this current season of your life, how are you living wellness, but without obsession?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I so just focus on what my body is telling me that feels good. I feel like when I was living in a time in my mid-20s of like wellness with obsession, and having
Same.
so much like rigidity around my exercise and how I was eating, like it didn't feel good in my body to do what I was doing. Getting up at like 5:30 in the morning to go work out, fasted, and do like kick my ass at the gym, like it didn't feel good, but I was not listening to my body. I was listening to my mind of like, oh, this is what I should be doing. And so it's taken me many years, but I feel like I feel at a very good place now of just like, what feels good? Like it feels good to move, but it doesn't feel good to move too much. You couldn't pay me to do that anymore of like getting up at 5 a.m. to work out. Like, no, it's not, it doesn't feel good for me anymore. So really just listening to my body and having like a lot of trust in that and just having a lot of flexibility, just like removing that rigidity and like still having structure and plans on how to take care of myself, but being really flexible with that. That's been really helpful for me. Change of plans, that's fine. Like things can look differently. Like, oh, we're going out to dinner tonight. Great, can't wait. Like just having that flexibility has been helpful for me.
I love that answer so much. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So fun.
Lauren, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Thank you, my incredible community, for listening to another episode of the Nourish Fertility Podcast. It is truly such an honor to have you here. And hey, if you have a minute of time, something that helps our show so much to grow and reach more people like you is leaving a rating and review. It takes less than a minute of your time, and it's a completely free way to support our growing practice and support this cause of helping more people realize that there's a reason why they're struggling with a missing or an irregular period and infertility, and most importantly, that there's something they can do about it. Thank you so much for supporting our show in that way. I also want to let you know that we have very limited spots left for July for Premier Peer Recovery for Fertility. This is our signature program, the program I shared about early in this episode that Lauren is seeing clients inside. So if you listen to this episode especially, you know you've been trying to get pregnant with a missing or an irregular period for so long, and you've tried everything possible to get your body cycling and ovulating again so that you can get pregnant, including not only eating more and exercising less, but fertility treatments, IUI, IVF. You've done literally everything possible, and you're still not getting the dream that you're looking for of holding a baby in your arms. What you might want to consider is this time for a deeper investigation to really look beneath the surface of what's causing your body's lack of ability basically to ovulate. Instead of thinking, oh, there's a problem with my ovaries, a better question to ask is, why has my body stopped prioritizing reproduction in the first place? Why is my body halting ovulation in my cycle? And the GI map, this stool sample test, can really help us see what's beneath the surface of why your body feels unsafe currently to have a cycle, let alone be able to get pregnant. We love this test so much that we've included it as a summer bonus, but that does go away in a few days. And if you want to guarantee that you get the GI map as part of your experience inside of Premier Peer Recovery for Fertility, I would definitely reach out today and book a decision-making call with me. There we can see if it's a good mutual fit to join the program. I'll be back next week for actually a really exciting announcement for a live training we have coming up next Saturday. And then we'll be back for our usual content with 2 brand new episodes coming your way in August. Until then, know that a nourished body is a powerful one.